ask yourself why you're creative? Where did the drive come from? There are a ton of easier things to do, like why art? Whatever art you're up to, painting, songwriting, poetry, choreography, music production, filmmaking, like it can't be just passion. You could totally have chosen just to appreciate, to collect, to be a patron, to be a fan of art. But no, you chose instead to create. Why? Welcome to Something I'm Learning. Been up all night. Hell, the sun's coming back up. I think this is the first for the show. Don't think I've actually done an AM run before, but here I am. There's nothing open for vegan takeout right now, so I'm gonna have to improvise. Anyway, if you happen to be a working artist, a creative of any kind, taking this ride with me this morning, you're in the right place. I'm slightly biased because I created the show, but I take these drives for you. Let me correct that. I take these drives for myself, but I record and produce them as a show for you, artists like myself, who need to be reminded of the value of what it is you do. To be reminded to take your work seriously, but keep your sense of play, experimentation, wonder, joy, silliness, YOLO. I do this in an effort to never let you forget that artists like you affect the world in a uniquely powerful way. You affect the world in a way that only an artist can. Unless she's an artist, a doctor, for example, can't do what you do. You understand? A Supreme Court justice, a Lord Speaker, a House of Commons MP, like a software engineer, a state representative, an architect, a scientist, a tech CEO, none of them can do what an artist can. At the risk of sounding dramatic, it's true. You have at your disposal a direct line to the hearts of however many people your art connects with. No middleman. It's kind of scary when you, artist, are powerful on a level that's frightening. You're go with me on this. You're a different kind of heart surgeon if you open your eyes to it. As an artist, whether you're aware of it or not, you are practicing emotional cardiology for masses of people. Maybe not exactly right now, because maybe you have like 10 fans who appreciate what you do, but maybe you have 500, 10,000. Maybe you have 500,000 or better. Wherever you are on your journey to reach out and be found by your fans, understand your power. Understand how even the smallest of choices you make, creating what you create, speaks to the people experiencing you. If you really get that, you're both exhilarated and terrified by that. And you should be. So acknowledging that our art affects hearts, we might want to be thoughtful when we're in there. Like, don't poke around carelessly. The challenge is to maintain that sense of joy and play I mentioned earlier, but also to honor the privilege people are extending to you when they choose to experience something you've created. When they choose you as their cardiologist. Bit of a wild metaphor, but that's something I'm learning. So back to what's making you creative. instead of just appreciating art, you chose the most grueling path. The one where you spend years being no good, and even if you manage to eventually become great, that greatness doesn't necessarily lead to the recognition your work deserves. It may not even lead to groceries in your fridge. Like, what is that? Like, what made you choose this path? We've all done it. If you happen to be a working artist taking this ride with me this morning, I'm curious. What in your childhood history perhaps led to that decision? I can tell you what it was for me. If I go all the way back, I'd have to say it would have to begin with my being an only child. No brothers and sisters. Radio was my best friend. It was my sibling, so to speak. I had a friend who gave me her Donald Duck radio. It was flat in design, so it fit under my pillow. I can't remember what I gave her in return. We must have exchanged something, but yeah, I ended up with this Donald Duck radio, and it was my little buddy, and I'd fall asleep listening to it every night. I'd stay up longer than my mom knew. I could turn down the volume just low enough. I didn't have any earbuds or anything, so yeah, just low enough so that she couldn't hear it outside my bedroom, but I could just lay there and fly away on whatever song I was playing at the time. And I had a very distinct visual sense for what I was hearing, even though a lot of it I had no previous reference for. And so I think that was one of the beginnings. The other thing is that I have a musical mom. Like, from the time I was a kid, I don't remember when there wasn't an acoustic guitar in the corner leaning up against the wall. And on occasion, when my mom was up to it and wasn't super busy just trying to support me, she was single, she's a single mom for much of my childhood, she would grab that guitar, pull it out of the case, and like magic, songs would come out of the strings. Like, she was, this is my mom, like the same person who taught me how to hold a spoon, and those same hands are now making music come out of this guitar as she accompanies her singing. She was way into folk music, and that's where I saw my first live performances, right there, my mom's bedroom, living room, just wherever she felt like playing and whatever she felt like playing. She had like these song books and stuff. She could go and, learn new songs that she wanted to figure out. And I think that shapes your sense of what's possible when you're a kid and you have a musician parent in the house with you. I think the third thing I attribute my eventual decision to make art the thing, let art be the thing, is somebody named Toma. Her name was Toma Stewart. She was my mom's friend. She's an older lady, older than my mom, by a bit. She's a former nightclub performer. And somehow, I don't remember when it is, but she noticed my interest in music. She took a liking to me. And one day, she gave me her old electric guitar and amp. And I immediately got at the business of teaching myself my favorite John Cougar Mellencamp song, Jack and Diane. And then I started going backwards to like rock classics that just sounded good to me. I don't know why. I had a bunch of choices I could have leaned toward. My mom had a huge music collection, but that's where I went. Rock and pop. Fast forward a little bit, and we would come to the fourth reason I think I made that decision. Is it third? The third? Are we on the fourth? I don't remember. But the next reason I think I ended up an artist is, yeah, my next reason is screaming girls. Like, seriously, once it's not applause from adults who you feel like, oh, they're just being nice because I'm a kid or whatever. But when you move beyond that adult applause, like when girls your age lose their minds live off something you did a second ago, yeah, it makes a pretty strong imprint on your brain. So I 100% stuck with it. And I think the more altruistic aspects of music grew on me from there. Who knows? I mean, it might have been there all along, but a kid is a kid, you know. And I'm glad it happened, however the introduction occurred. But I would love to hear what your story is. Whatever discipline you happen to be a part of, if you create things from thoughts in any shape or capacity, anything artistic. And another thing I'd appreciate knowing, if you watch this and care to share, is what art has done for you, what being a creative has done for you since you found yourself on this path. If I had to answer that question, of course I'd cite artistic expression and just a relationship that you form with sound that you notice your friends don't necessarily have. They just don't listen to music the same way you do. You know, from a child in my mom's living room listening to her music collection and separating out each instrument mentally and paying attention to not only the notes but the feel. I think musical artists are just different in that way. We hear music differently. We're just a bit more rigorous about what's happening to our ears and our brains as we're experiencing the piece. No matter what it is. I mean, it could be Zydeco to metal to future hyperbass. Like, it really doesn't matter. We just listen differently. But beyond that, what I'd say music has done for me, art has done for me, and my association with it is put me on airplanes and taken me to cities and towns to perform for people I would never have encountered. It's opened the door for me to meet amazing people I never would have met or hung out with in my life so far. But yeah, those are my reasons. That's my origin story, and that is what I believe music, art, and just general life as a creative has done for me. Would love to hear from any of you who care to share what your origin story is. But at the very least, I hope you know what that is and take time to reflect on it and appreciate it, because everybody doesn't get to do this thing you're doing. Maybe on another drive I'll share where I want to go with it, or maybe not. Sometimes I feel like when you talk about where you're trying to go with something, even though you may have achieved a certain level of success, you can sometimes sabotage. I know me, I sometimes will sabotage a thing that I talk about as opposed to just doing the thing and then talking about it later. I may cover that on a future drive, who knows. Meantime, till the next time we talk, I wish you gratitude for your artistic journey so far. I wish you an understanding of the things that made you choose art in the first place. I wish you vegan gas station snacks when nothing's open. I wish you 100,000 more sunrises. I wish you heart flutters and stomach butterflies. And the love you deserve. Keep rising.